It seems like if you want a good experience with games nowadays, you have to turn to the indie scene. Tank games are no exception. Gunner Heat PC is a project I've been following for a while now, and they've made some incredible strides in that time. It's a sim-lite type game set in 1985, the height of the Cold War. They currently have a demo up on Steam as part of the Next Fest event, and I was able to interview a few of the devs about it. If this interests you at all, try the demo and consider supporting them on Patreon. Anyway, let's roll the interview. So what is Gunner Heat PC and how would you say it stands out compared to tank games already on the market?
Gunner Heat PC is a love letter to mounted combat. It was born from the desire to have a game that focuses on what tanks do and the cool details about them. And I felt that a lot of the existing games didn't quite hit that. They were focused on the economy or the PvP or some other aspect, and tanks were kind of just the aesthetic. We wanted something that was more authentic.
Okay, and how is development coming along?
Development has been a pretty wild ride. We've been really doing intense progress for the last year or two. We're working toward a Steam release in early access this year. And there's always too much to do, and we have a very small team, but we're keeping at it. Very happy with how far we've come, and I think we have a lot in the future to be excited about. In addition, there is a demo out on Steam right now for the Next Fest event. That's something that games that are upcoming on Steam can do one time during their development. We are signed on for the June event, starting June 13 and running through the 20th. During that event, and a little bit after, there is a demo. You can get it from the GHPC Steam page for free. That's a little taste, a little snippet of the game. It's a work in progress, obviously. The game's in development. It's not fully optimized yet. There's not every feature that we want, but it's, I think, pretty fun, and people seem to enjoy it. So if you're interested, check that out. It's available for the month of June, and it will give you an idea what we're going for.
We've been able to incorporate a lot of feedback from new players just from the demo that's been up, and we try and put that in. So that has been a kind of cycle of new content that we've been mining away at.
And one thing to note is that when the Steam demo goes away, the itch demo will still be around. That is the demo that we've had for a long time before. There is a public version for free, which you can get to from our website, gunnerheatpc.com. And then there is a Patreon version, which you get if you subscribe to our Patreon, which is how we get our development funding. The Patreon demo has more content than the free one. Free one's a little bit limited. You don't have certain vehicles, you don't have certain game features, but it gives you a glimpse into what's going on so you can decide if you want to support.
Do you have any plans for post-launch content such as DLC or perhaps modding tools?
Yeah, we've got obviously a very rich subject matter here in the form of tanks and armored combat. We're starting with the Fulda Gap theater set around 1985, kind of a Cold War gone hot scenario, very familiar in these kinds of games. But that's only the starting point. We are planning to branch out into other theaters, other wars, real and fictional. And while we haven't released any of those specifically, we do have a list of them, and we are planning to release DLC later on in the development cycle. Modding tools are something that we're still thinking about. They're definitely not coming in the short term. We would have to put in quite a bit of effort to make them work, and that's something we can't spare right now.
Early access kind of allows us to get our footing, get a framework going for our entire game. So as we go through that process and we are using that feedback from players, we're able to make it, one, more accessible, and then two, we're able to just generate content that will help build the DLC up much more easily than having to build the game alongside any DLC.
And do you want to touch on Patreon again, or?
Yeah. So one of the special things about this project is that we are entirely community funded through Patreon. That does several things. One, it makes it so that we are not beholden to anyone for the creative direction of the game. We don't have to satisfy the whims of a publisher or anything like that. We are fully in control. We have our artistic vision intact. Two, and unfortunately, it makes it so that we have a very limited budget, because even a relatively successful Patreon project like ours is nowhere near the resources of a studio game project. So we have a very small team. Most are part-time, and one of the most critical things for us is that people spread the word. We can't afford crazy amounts of marketing. We don't have kind of a hype machine ready to go at a moment's notice like a big studio would. And the success of the project will largely depend on people finding out about it, which is where everybody playing the game or watching these videos can help.
That all being said, though, we've had an extremely organic kind of following come up. We just hit 10,000 members in our Discord, which is an insane number to me. And even though we are community funded, that allowed Josh to go full-time and work on this, and it allowed myself to go full-time and work on this. So we have been speeding up quite well over the last year and some change.
Alright, and is there anything else you want to highlight?
I would encourage people to play the demo and see how they like it. I think we're making something pretty unique and pretty special here, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Alright. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.